Hello, everyone. Welcome along to the Spanish Grand Prix. I'm just live. I'm just literally checking that we are live. Um, yes, we are. Okay, that's good. Let me just actually check. Oh, yeah, we are all good then. Hello, everyone. Welcome along to the Spanish Grand Prix live from the Circuit de Barcelona de Catalunya. The clouds are around this afternoon, and there is a slight chance of rain prior to the race as well. So I have to just wait and see as to exactly what is going on then. So yeah, it's we got clouds in the grandstands, and it's great to actually see some clouds. But we're just going to hear Charles Leclerc now. Okay, so and we're going to listen to Toto Wolff now as well. Toto Wolff saying him and Mercedes are flexible this afternoon with a one or a two stop strategy. I have to wait and see who blinks first, who rolls that dice then. So Hamilton is on pole position. He's pulled into his position on the grid for the 100th time in Formula One. Yes, that's right. The 100th time in Formula One. I'm just going to actually do a quick Instagram story as well whilst we're on here. We're live across YouTube now as well. But do you think Hamilton will take that 98th race victory? Vote now. So let's see if let's see what Instagram says. Let's see what they say. Let's see what Instagram says. We'll give them a few minutes. The battle for the Spaniards is on. Yes, that's right. Someone's saying that. Between two Spaniards in the top 10, between Fernando Alonso and Carlos Sainz, the Ferrari and the McLaren driver, making it to the top 10. Fernando Alonso only failed to reach Q3 once before in Formula One at the Spanish Grand Prix. That was way back in 2015. But anyway, we are almost set for the end racism message.
We race because it's who we are. We race to compete. On the tracks, in the pits, as a sport. But we all race for something bigger. It's time to race for equality. It's time we race for sustainability. It's time we race to be global citizens. It's time we race for equal access, opportunities, and representation. Because sport can change the world, but it's up to us to make sure that change is for the better. United, we are stronger. Change starts with you. It needs to come from your heart. Keep working, keep learning, keep on understanding. We have a platform to shift change, starting little by little. Loyal and Women United for the same causes. We have the opportunity to spread the right message. If we all pull together, every single person has responsibility. The best example is our own example. We need to be responsible on what kind of mark we lead. We don't have all the answers yet, but we can help find change. Starts here. We race. We race. We race. We race. We race. We race as one.
The drivers united in their message as always, as they all wear the end racism t-shirts and they take the knee at their own choice as well. It's really important that we keep this racism message going in sport. Right, about 17 minutes to go until we get underway for formation. That it's it's well known, this circuit, to all of these drivers who have done testing here, other than Mazepin. And but now we're going to have the Spanish national anthem. The Spanish and the Catalan national anthems there for you, ringing around Barcelona this afternoon. So as the clouds linger over the circuit, I think we're going to have a word with Lando Norris. very shortly. I have to wait and see when we get that interview in. But yeah, it's actually yeah, it's gonna be um just seeing pictures of Alan Prost there then. Formula One World Champion, 1985, 86, and many more. The Formula, we're just having seeing pictures again of just now we're gonna hear from Lando Norris.
The car a lot in my Q3 run one lap, which yeah, basically kind of had us over for Q3 run two. So qualifying three is not my best friend at the moment, but we have good pace in the car. We just didn't show it, so hopefully today I can. The conditions are really different from yesterday. You said there's a few spots of rain not get away the grid. The wind's is this the best driving of your career so far, do you think? I mean, like, more consistently, yes. You know, every now and then, the last couple of years, I've had moments where I felt like I did a good job, and I've just been a lot more consistent this year, which has been the key. But I don't want to jinx that because I've got another race now. Thanks for sort of, really appreciate your time. We'll let Lando get on.
Very nice to hear Lando chatting. We're here from Lewis Hamilton now.
Yeah, this is one of the hardest races, one of the longest runs down to turn one that we have. So it's daunting. It's cold always where you want to be, but then it's also you can get towed quite heavily, so it's not that easy to defend.
First roll, Lewis Hamilton versus Max Verstappen. Who will be the first in the first turn?
We'll find out in a little bit of time. I mean, shouldn't think about it too much. Just let it go. I mean, we always try to make a good start, and then we'll see what happens.
Actually, that's something we prepared for. We work as hard as we can and just deal with it on the spot.
It's been windy every day a little bit. Of course, the wind changes a bit every day, but yeah, no, I think it should be fine. I mean, at the end of the day, it's safe for everyone. Just have to deal with it.
It's interesting with the wind change direction today, so it's done. We're not going to tell them we'll feel good.
Which is a good thing for you.
Yeah, considering that the Red Bulls are really fast with that fast swing that they have, so it'd be better. In the last race, obviously, down the main straight, we had a headwind, so that's why Austin was a little bit better. Now with the tailwind, you make it a little bit harder, hopefully, for people to sit.
So interesting that Lewis Hamilton saying. Interesting that Lewis Hamilton there saying that that the tailwind could advantage. It's harder to slipstream basically if you have a tailwind, so it could advantage him, give him that advantage going into the first corner, where we've obviously got a 610-meter run down to turn one. Don't forget, keep those comments coming in. Who do you think will win the Spanish Grand Prix? I'm going to read out some of your tweets that you've sent us. Remember, if you want to join in, that's hashtag Spanish GP is what you need to tweet us. Hashtag Spanish GP. That's Lando reports Lando reports light rain in turns 4 and 5 and 6. That's interesting. That was about 19 minutes ago. Let's see. We would like the weatherman to report back this by lights out, please. Mother Nature, we're looking at you. we all know there's not going to be any rain. I mean, it says 50% chance of rain. I still hope, please come on. Yes, that's right. There is about a 50% chance that we will get a shower or some rain in this race. Podium time, finally a good Spanish GP. There might be, well, we haven't had a bad one. If we have a bad one, maybe 2020, that was an exclusion, but 2017, that was a battle and a half, wasn't it? And 2016. We've had some good races around this circuit. Just check the radar. There won't be any rain anytime soon. I'm sorry, that's what people are putting. 15 minutes to go. There's actually under 15 minutes to go. There's 8 minutes to go. Now, there's umbrellas going up. So I wonder if it is starting to spot with rain a bit as they're clearing the grid. How good is it to see fans in the grandstand? Yes, it's fantastic that we have 1,000 of them here. Hashtag F1 huddle. Someone's put. Go well in your home race, you two. That's Fernando and Carlos. The speed these drivers take off their anti-racing t-shirt off is quite similar to a pit stop. Yeah, they are pretty quick, aren't they? Getting their anti-racing t-shirt off. Take each other out at turn one. Oh, yeah, they're replying to the Spanish duo there. That would be a disaster, wouldn't it? If the Spanish duo went out at turn one. Explain their home race. Carlos top 5 finish. So we are almost set and ready to go in Barcelona. We've got about 7 minutes until the light goes green. Formation that the end that formation that the cars will line up on the grid, and when we get that green flag at the back, we will get one. We will then get 5 red lights, and when those 5 red lights go out, we will be racing at Barcelona for the first time in a little while. But here we go. It's time, near enough time for the Spanish Grand Prix. Very, very soon. Anyway, I actually don't know how this is going to go. I don't know how this race is going to unfold. But whatever happens, we're about to find out how this race exactly goes. We've had a cracking start to this 2021 season. Don't forget that this race is not going to give up. It's going to be an absolute cracker around Brazil. Around Barcelona, sorry. Don't go anywhere. Strap yourselves in. We're all ready for a roller coaster of a ride. It's the Spanish Grand Prix.
I don't need Nico to make me realize how good Lewis is. I know he's very good.
Hello everyone, welcome along to Barcelona. We're here on the banks of the Mediterranean Sea this afternoon. The sun is behind the clouds. It's the Formula One Gran Premio de España on the shores of the Mediterranean. Round 4 of the Formula One World Championship in 2021 then. After pre-season testing in 2020, the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya donated over 1,520 kilograms of unused food to local charities. What a kind donation that was. This is the first time since 2014 the F1 teams use this circuit without having conducted any pre-season testing here. So let's take a look at the circuit itself then. 4.675 kilometers, 2.905 miles. We've got 2 DRS zones. One on the run down towards turn 10, one on the run to turn 1. 16 turns, an elevation of 29.6 meters. Turn 1 and 2 then, we go back to 2017. Hamilton against Vettel. Hamilton being forced out wide. Didn't quite win out on that battle, but he managed to get the job done later on then. Turn 4, 2020. Sainz against Albon. Albon tried the outside line, but it didn't quite work out. And he had to come out of that battle. Turns 8 and 9, 2012, Vettel versus Rosberg going side by side through turn 9. You don't see that very often. Will we see it today? We'll have to wait and see. The tyres we've got are the C3s, the C2s, and the C1s. They're the hardest compounds of the Pirelli range. However, the clouds are over. Will we need the intermediates or the wets today? We'll have to wait and see. But let's have a look at our starting grid. On pole position for the 100th time in Formula One is Lewis Hamilton. He's joined by Max Verstappen in second. He has his teammate Valtteri Bottas in third, joined by the furthest Ferrari forward Charles Leclerc in fourth. Ocon starts in his best Formula One in fifth, and he's joined by the second Ferrari, Sainz in sixth. And we've got Ricciardo in seventh. He's joined by the second Red Bull, Sergio Perez in eighth. Lando Norris lines up ninth ahead of the second Spaniard, Fernando Alonso in 10th. Stroll missed out on Q3. He starts 11th, along with Gasly in 12th. 13th, Vettel, and he's joined by the Italian in 14th, Antonio Giovinazzi. Russell made it to Q2, Mr. Saturday 15th. And the big shock, Yuki Tsunoda, only 16th fastest. He lines up ahead of Raikkonen in 17th. He's joined by Schumacher in 18th. Latifi in 19th, and Mazepin got a 3-place grid penalty, lines up in 20th then. We've got back. He was the slowest anyway, but he still received a 3-place grid penalty for holding up Lando Norris on a flying lap. So, all of the drivers start on the soft tyres, apart from one, which is Kimi Raikkonen. So it'll be interesting to see how Kimi Raikkonen goes. Esteban Ocon starts fifth. That's his joint best Formula One qualifying position. He secured a 5th place at the 2020 Sakhir Grand Prix, which obviously the pole sitter Lewis Hamilton missed out. The only F1 race in his career that he's had to miss. Something quite incredible. He's never been disqualified. He's never had, well, he's been disqualified, but he's never had a race ban in Formula One either. So, Max Verstappen's making his 100th start for Red Bull, as Lewis Hamilton's making his 100th start in that front position, not first. Has led every lap at the circuit of Barcelona Catalunya since lap 33 of the 2019 Spanish Grand Prix. Right, here we go then. We are almost set for the formation lap, and the red lights are flashing on the back of the cars, and there's one red light on the gantry, and the clock ticks 3 o'clock, and the formation lap is on the way then. Hamilton looks like he didn't get the best start on the formation lap. I think got a bit of wheel spin on the practice start there. It's a very long run down towards turn 1, 600 meters. We saw in the F3 feature race this morning, cars going 4 wide into that first corner. The predictive pit stop strategy is if you start on the softs, you can go onto the medium, or you can go, if you start on the softs, you can also go medium and then soft. If you go to medium end of the race, you'll be stopping at around lap 22 to 28. The fastest pit stop of the season goes to Red Bull Racing with 1.93 seconds at round 1 in Bahrain. So Hamilton starting on the clean side of the grid. He gave his teammate Valtteri Bottas a lovely slipstream into that first corner. Verstappen, who will be on the dirty side of the grid, starts in second. Be interesting to see how he gets away, because when he's been on that dirty side of the grid, he's he's been lightning quick at getting away. So I have to wait and see. Remember, get the comments in. Who do you think will win? Who do you think will be leading out of the first corner then? Right, the car's making their way towards turn 10 on the formation lap now then. Hamilton's trying to build quite a big gap. Mercedes leading the Constructors' Championship on 101 points from Red Bull on 83, McLaren in third on 53, Ferrari in fourth on 42, and then it's quite a tight battle there. Alfa Romeo, Williams, and Haas are all yet to score. Right, Hamilton's backing them up now into turn 13, and they're going through the chicane of turn 14 and 15. Hamilton has won here every race since 2016 then, when the only time he failed to finish. Oh, did Verstappen overtake it, Lewis Hamilton there on the formation lap. He really had to stamp on his brakes. He's really backing them up. You don't want to be sitting on that grid any longer than you have to be. So he's really going to be backing them up then. But Verstappen's also trying to back everyone up. So Hamilton will sit on the grid longer. And all the time, Hamilton's sitting on the grid. Those soft tyres of his will be cooling as he pulls into position then. We are almost all set and ready at the Circuit de Barcelona de Catalunya. We're all on board with Max Verstappen as the final cars, the two Hasses and the Williams and Nicholas Latifi make their way round turn 16, followed by the medical car. Here we go then. Get ready. Don't go anywhere. Buckle up. We've got the yellow flag out still, so they're still not ready. They've been sitting on the grid for a long, long time then. But the Haas of Nikita Mazepin pulls into position. Then the medical car. We get the green flag at the back. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights at Barcelona. And it's go, go, go. It's an equal start. Verstappen gets a really good start though. And Hamilton gets better. Verstappen's going wheel to wheel with Lewis Hamilton. Verstappen is going to try the inside line into turn 1. Verstappen, they make contact. Hamilton has to take evasive action. But Verstappen takes the lead of the Spanish Grand Prix. They all make it through turn 1 and 2. Nice and neatly. That's Charles Leclerc going round the outside of Valtteri Bottas, that is, and into 4th place. They've all managed to make it through so far, but Verstappen has made a lightning start. And is that the Red Bull thinking about a move on the McLaren? Doesn't quite do it into turn 5. But a lightning start. And the Alpine of Esteban Ocon, I think that is almost going into the back of the Red Bull, Sergio Perez. And always not quite the Aston Martin of Sebastian Vettel trying to move into the chicane at turn 7 and 8. Verstappen leads Hamilton from the Leclerc then on the opening lap. Here we go then, through the new turn 10 for the first time. But that was a great start from Max Verstappen. The two Alfa Romeos going for it into turn 13. Verstappen leads then as they head on to the second lap. But they really got their elbows out at turn 1. 1.5 seconds is the gap. The DRS doesn't open until the end of lap 2. They're line astern at the moment. And for the first time this season, we haven't got a safety car on the opening lap then. So Leclerc's other place, Bottas, had a nightmare start from 3rd on the grid. He's down in 4th. He lost the position. So Verstappen had a great start, but did he force another driver off the track? That's what I have to wait and see. As Tsunoda gets past George Russell. He's down in 17th, is Yuki Tsunoda. Mick Schumacher up to 16th. They were so close to contact though at that first corner. He made a really good start, did Mick Schumacher, down at the back. They're still line astern at the moment, but Verstappen's extending his lead out at front. And he's going to also enable the DRS. So DRS will now be enabled, I believe, as well. So we've got Alonso still staying in 10th. So the order so far, just have a look at the race start actually. So let's have a look at it again. Hamilton also actually gets a really good start, but Verstappen just gets that slipstream. And let's see, does he? Oh, yeah. He gave him a bit of a shove, did Max Verstappen, and Hamilton had to take evasive action and go off the track. He didn't quite go past that. Let's go on board with Max Verstappen now. He gets that slipstream and he's right on the gearbox of that Mercedes. Oh, they almost do touch. Lewis could have covered the inside, but in the mirrors aren't great on these Formula One cars. So how they didn't touch, I don't know. Let's see how close they get. Oh. Let's go on board with the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc. Let's see how he gets past Valtteri Bottas. He doesn't do it into turn 1, no. He's keeping out the dirty air, and then he's going to go round the outside at turn 3. What a lovely move that was from Charles Leclerc. I think we'll see a few more of them moves round the outside this afternoon. Right, lap 4 then. Still 1.5 seconds separates the lead out in front then. So Bottas against Leclerc is going to be the battle to look out for. The two leaders accelerating away as we thought they would. But can Hamilton keep in within touching distance of that Red Bull? So Pierre Gasly is under investigation for being out of position at the start of the race. Has he gone too far forward in his grid box? Has he jumped the start? Yeah, we've just seen it's under investigation. Pierre Gasly, but out of position at the start is what it's saying. So Bottas Leclerc 7 is coming down to half a second. Bottas with DRS, he's gaining on Leclerc, but he's just that little bit too far back into turn 1. He's not quite close enough, but he might be able to hang it around the outside of turn 3. No, he can't quite do that either. So you have to have about a 1.8 second pace advantage, but to at least have an attempt to get an overtake done here. So that is how difficult it is. It is to overtake. It's a perfect start for Max Verstappen. They're still line astern though, pretty much from about 10th all the way down to last. Schumacher's lost the position to Tsunoda, by the way, and Bottas is now out of DRS from the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc then. He's out of DRS. That's not good for Valtteri Bottas and Mercedes, but Hamilton crucially keeping that gap at about 1.5 seconds. It'd be interesting to see who rolls the dice first with the pit stop strategy. Right, the Sergio Perez has got DRS now. Let's see what he can do. I don't think he's quite close enough. No, he's not, is Sergio Perez, to go down the inside on Daniel Ricciardo. He can't quite do it into turn 1. He had a thought about it. He had a look at it. So Sergio had a bit of dizziness in qualifying yesterday. He hasn't quite. He seems to be feeling a bit better as George Russell thinks about a move on the Haas of Mick Schumacher, but he can't quite do it. And Mr. Saturday's fallen all the way down to 18th. He didn't have a very good start, but Schumacher runs a bit wide on the exit turn 3, but the Williams still can't get through. He's got the Williams, both Williams now, very much on his tail. But a great start from Max Verstappen. But that gap has come down to about 1.2 seconds now. Hamilton much quicker on that last lap compared to Verstappen getting these soft tyres fired up. We knew it was going to be a dogfight between the Mercedes and the Red Bull. We're very much getting that. But Verstappen's pulled it out by about 2/10 in the last couple of corners. So I wonder if Hamilton maybe made a mistake somewhere. But Bottas, for his race, really needs to get past Charles Leclerc. Right, he still can't do it into turn one, Kvyat Bottas. He still can't do it. Pierre Gasly, by the way, is still under investigation for that incident for the out of place grid position. We're going to try and get a replay of that as to exactly what happened. But Bottas still following. But Bottas really needs to get past, as the Williams is still trying to get past the Haas or Mick Schumacher. That's Russell. That is the battle for 17th. Bottas for the Mercedes strategy really needs to get past Charles Leclerc. He's 0.6 seconds behind now. So he's following pretty well, is the Mercedes driver. But you need to be lightning quick down the straight to stand a chance of trying to get past. Right, here we go again. How close is it going to be? It's 0.7 seconds as they cross the line. Tsunoda is falling down. I wonder what's happened to him. There's a yellow flag in sectors 2 and 3. I wonder if Tsunoda might have had a little incident. We'll have to wait and see. He's fallen all the way to the back. And Tsunoda's had a spin. Engine's gone, is what he's saying. Then he stopped on the exit turn 10. That will certainly be a safety car, or at least a virtual safety car where that is, to remove that, unless they can get it restarted. Then we'll have to wait and see what they throw. It looks like it's completely switched off, but he's getting out. Let's see what they throw. It's a yellow flag. It's a double waved yellow down there now. He's managed to avoid the gravel traps. They might be all right. They might be able to wheel it. He's climbing out. It's still a double waved yellow, and it's a safety car deployed now. Let's see how George Russell got past Schumacher. He does it with DRS down into turn 1. He actually does it before he gets to the braking zone. So safety car deployed here at Barcelona then. It didn't take that long, did it? He's getting out. Tsunoda's out of the race. So safety car deployed. Tsunoda is out of the Spanish Grand Prix, and the marshals are they're gonna actually JCB it. Let's have a listen to it here then. It just goes. It just goes. The engine just goes right, but that will bring Lewis Hamilton's gap right down because it's a full safety car. What's happening to Giovinazzi? I think they brought the wrong tyres out for Giovinazzi because they're running them in. And oh dear, what is going on for Giovinazzi now? Oh, it's absolute chaos for Giovinazzi. They've brought the wrong tyres. Oh dear. They've brought the wrong tyres out and he finally gets going, but it's 35.1 seconds for Alfa Romeo. Let's see what went wrong. So they realised that they've got Oh, it's a puncture. It's a flat tire on the front left. That's what it is. And then they have to change all of them because they have to match the compound. So that's what's happened to Antonio Giovinazzi, and he's all the way at the bottom now. But it's smart work there from the mechanic on the front left for saying there's a puncture. Right, so we're behind the Mercedes AMG GTR safety car for the moment. I hope that they have pretty much cleared that car now, so I don't think there will be too many more problems now because they are getting it cleared. Who's going to benefit from the safety car? The gap that Verstappen had lost has gone, so he certainly is not benefiting from the safety car. The sister team has caused the safety car. That is not good, is it? If you're Red Bull, your sister team may have put you in a dollop of trouble because that slipstream down the straight is a double stack for Williams. So good double stack there, 3.2 for Latifi. I think there's a problem at the rear of George Russell's car, which did temporarily slow down Nicholas Latifi. Right, so safety car in this lap then, and we will go back racing. Bottas radio. So Bottas saying, what can he do differently to the other cars ahead? So the lights go out on the Mercedes GTR then. Well, they're actually still on, but they've gone out now, and Verstappen is gonna now back the field up. Then, and Hamilton's trying to get as close to the back of the Red Bull as he can, and the safety car line is pretty much the start-finish line here. So Verstappen will want to go as late as he possibly can, I believe, because he won't want Hamilton getting much of a slipstream down to the first corner then. Right. Here we go. They're going into the chicane. So Verstappen's effectively the pace setter now, but he goes on the exit of the chicane. And did that catch Hamilton napping? We'll have to wait and see because Verstappen has built half a second already, but Hamilton is getting that slipstream. How much can he gain? The Clerk's also getting the slipstream. The Clerk thought about a move. The Alpine of Esteban Ocon thinks about a move on Sergio Perez, but he can't quite do it then. They all make it through the first corner at the restart. And is that a Haas possibly going up the inside of a Williams in the background? I fear it was a Williams going up the inside of a Haas, going round the outside. I think George Russell went round the outside. And Mick Schumacher, Lance Stroll trying round the outside of the Alpine of Fernando Alonso. Round turn 4, what a move. And they're going to go down the inside at turn 5. That was a lovely move from Lance Stroll. Alonso down to 11, Stroll up to 10. A great move at the restart then from Fernando. Latifi's also now got ahead of Mazepin. So Latifi ahead of Mazepin then. They head through turn 9 and on to turn 10. The AlphaTauri of Pierre Gasly thinking of a move on Sebastian Vettel, but didn't quite. So we're hearing that Pierre Gasly has got a 5-second time penalty for being out of position at the start. So 5-second time penalty for Pierre Gasly for being out of position at the start. So you can serve that at a pit stop, actually, a time penalty, because it's not a stop-go. So Verstappen's got to build a big enough gap. He's not out of DRS range yet. Let's see then, Pierre Gasly. Oh, yes. That's quite a long way beyond the grid box, actually, for Pierre Gasly. So basically, you have to stop on the yellow stripe tyre. Your front wheel has to be before the yellow stripe tyre mark or on it. You can't really see it though from the cockpit of a Formula One car, so that is probably why maybe Pierre Gasly just misjudged it. So the gap out front, 9/10 of a second, then just over a second now actually between Hamilton and Verstappen. Now, Hamilton, of course, will get that slipstream. 0.997 seconds now is the gap out of front coming down. So Hamilton was without DRS that time. He's within the DRS range now. Race control DRS has now been enabled to get DRS up towards turn 10. That could help him close down, especially for the straight. However, you can't. It's hard to make an overtake into turn 10, but he's not going to get DRS into turn 10 either, I don't think. No, he's just out of it by about a tenth of a second. Verstappen's cleared him by about a tenth of a second on DRS. So it is going to be all down to the pit stops here and who has the better strategy, I think. Whose tyres will go the longest. Here, we're thinking about a one stop, but it all depends on how you get that in lap, whether you get that in lap correct or whether you make a mistake and have a slow in lap. So Hamilton needs to make up about a tenth of a second to be within DRS, and he is going to do that, I think, with the slipstream. He seems to be close. He's within DRS range going into turn 1, but Verstappen just is quicker around the rest of the circuit, and that is what is causing Hamilton to be without. But Hamilton's closing the gap now. It's just opened back up again to 9.5 tenths of a second, and now it's over a second. So yes. And they are flying, both of them. They've built a 5-second gap. Hamilton was slightly faster in the speed trap that time, about 5 miles an hour faster than Max Verstappen. And Hamilton now has DRS towards turn 10. Can't do much with it, unfortunately. Actually lost time with the DRS. So I have to wait and see what the time is when he crosses detection point. Does Lewis Hamilton? I don't think he's going to have it down the straight. No, he won't. But Valtteri Bottas will have it, and he will be trying. No, he won't have it. Will he have it? No, he won't. I don't think. No. The Mercedes isn't a good car following, is it? Right, the Ferrari of Carlos Sainz is going to try and get past the Alpine of Esteban Ocon. It doesn't quite work out. About another 10 metres of the straight, I think the Carlos Sainz would have been alongside the Alpine, if not past it. As Latifi gets past Schumacher. So the bottom 5 is Russell, Latifi, Schumacher, Mazepin, and Giovinazzi's race was rather ruined by that pit stop under the safety car when they had a flat tyre, which means they had to replace the whole set. You can't cross sets in Formula One like you can in other categories. If there's a problem with one tyre, you have to replace all of them. It's not like in WEC or anywhere like that where you can just replace that one tyre. So only one driver out so far, that's Yuki Tsunoda. He broke down, or his car just completely powered off on the exit of the turn 10. He's had a wretched start to his Formula One season as Yuki Tsunoda. or a wretched few races, should we say. He had quite a good start in Bahrain, actually getting some points, but the AlphaTauri of reliability just letting him down. And so it's a DRS train at the moment towards turn one. This was what we were fearing might happen. A DRS train, because it's very hard to pass, and they're all stuck behind Fernando Alonso. So, Science Radio. Hamilton's not the fastest sector one, but Carlos Sainz apparently is still on plan C. But how many plans are there? They can be plan F, they can be plan E, they can be plan D, they can be plan G. You can have as many as you like. But yeah, so the safety cars rather throwing the strategy out the window. The chance of a safety car here wasn't that high, but we've got one already because of Yuki Tsunoda stopping on the exit turn 10. That caused the dig up to need to come out. So Hamilton's just edged himself within DRS down the straight. That's crucial. Leclerc radio. Plan B, it is for Charles Leclerc. So it's plan C for his teammate Carlos Sainz, but it's plan B for Charles Leclerc. As we're just over 17 laps in, tactics is being pressed by the people on the Mercedes pit wall. And they are still following. Hamilton's now out of the DRS range. Again, it's really not good at following is that Mercedes. Once it gets ahead, it can put away. And it's got a nice big blister. That's really blistered the soft tyre of Lewis Hamilton's. And there's a blister on the rear of Max Verstappen as well. So you will be concerned about the structural ability. They're pumping the lap times, but the tyres don't really look like they're going to be enjoying it. The pit crew's still sitting tight, sorry. Hamilton radio. So the tyres really look like they're starting to drop off. There's a blister as well, Charlie, forming on the front left as well as the rear right. Doesn't really look so bad, that blister on the shot that we've just seen. It could just be like pick-up rubber. I don't know. I very much doubt it would be that. So if you're Max Verstappen, you're in a good position because you're putting Lewis Hamilton in a place that he doesn't want to be, following another driver, pretty much. That's where he doesn't want to be. Still, a second separates them, but they are smashing the lap times out. That fastest lap currently belonging to Lewis Hamilton. So the only Raikkonen just gets past Gasly. Oh, Gasly's coming into the pits. That's why he's got past Gasly. Let's see. He's going to have to serve his 5-second penalty as well. They wait for 5 seconds. Now they go. They change the tyres, and Pierre Gasly comes back out, but he will come out in 19th place. It's 3.7 seconds the actual pit stop, 8.7 seconds overall. It does really feel forever if you're a racing driver and you get a penalty. Right, according to AWS, if you're on the soft tyre, the pit window for you is now open. So expect to see the pit lane getting pretty busy soon with pit stops. Who's going to roll the dice first out of the front two? Who's going to come in? And Hamilton's saying he wants to take out some front flap of the car on the pit stop to try and give him some extra speed down the straights. That is what, maybe that's what is holding Hamilton up a bit at the moment. They're still line astern. And it's like a Formula One train of cars down the straight. This is what I kind of expect to see Monaco in 2 weeks' time, when it's pretty much impossible to pass. We still haven't seen many cars actually go wheel to wheel. There's a bit of rubber burning on the front left of the Aston Martin of Sebastian Vettel. The average time lost during the pit stop is about 22 seconds. If you pit under a safety car, however, the average time lost is about 13 to 15 seconds. So really, if the safety car came out now, it'd be quite nice. Better radio. So everyone's saying that they are struggling with the front left. Seems to be causing everyone a problem, including the front runners. They're the tyres that they are both struggling with as well. Remember, you can get involved if you tag us #SpanishGP. So the gap between Verstappen and Hamilton's now gone up to about 1.5 seconds. Is Hamilton possibly saving his tyres to do a killer lap on Verstappen? But I think they'll all be pretty happy when the soft tyres come into the pits and they go in the black sack and go in the bin. They don't look to be behaving too well for the drivers out on the track at the moment. So they all go on to the Mercedes. Bottas struggling a bit with rears is what Bottas is saying to his race engineer. Hamilton's brought the gap back down to about 1.1 seconds. They really are trading lap times, aren't they, this afternoon? So if Hamilton pitting now, he would come out in about 8th or 9th, and there's going to be a pit stop for Aston Martin as they're coming out, and so are the Alpine teams. Right, so who's going to be coming into the pits then? It's Vettel and Alonso coming in. So Vettel pulls in, stops nicely on his markers. It's a slow stop. It's a really slow stop. It's 4 seconds for Sebastian Vettel. It's 2.5 for Fernando Alonso. Where are they going to come out? They might be side by side with Pierre Gasly, or they're going to be so Alonso got out ahead of Gasly. Vettel got out behind, but obviously Vettel's got to warm up those yellow striped medium tyres then. So let's see. So if Hamilton and Verstappen pitted, as I said, they'll be coming out at about 9th or 10th, depending on how quickly. And is that Nikita Mazepin going down the inside of Fernando Alonso, but Alonso is going to go back up the inside of the Russian driver into turn 7. Fernando Alonso, once he got his tyres fired up, managed to get ahead. Let's see what goes wrong for the Aston Martin then. I think it's just a problem with one of the rear tyres going on. Right, the Ferrari of Carlos Sainz is coming in, and so is the Aston Martin of Lance Stroll. So they are really thinking now that it is pit stop time, but we're still waiting for one of the front two to roll the dice and throw the strategy in the bin for the other team then, and let's see who does it first. Blue flags for Lance Stroll, or is that Vettel and Gasly going for it? It is Vettel getting past Pierre Gasly as Nikita Mazepin now also comes into the pits for Haas. Starting to trigger very much a chain reaction then. Mazepin comes out about 1 minute 19 seconds behind the leader, Max Verstappen. Right, Mercedes are out in the pits, and it's for Valtteri Bottas this time. Bottas comes in. Let's see the pit stop time. Nice stop from Mercedes, 2.7 seconds. But where is Bottas going to come out? Let's have a look. Ocon's coming in. Norris is coming in. Let's see what Lando Norris is. Hopefully he stops nicely on his markers. Yes, he does. It's a good stop. So I think Leclerc will have to come in as well to cover Valtteri Bottas, and then it will cause a chain reaction, and the leaders will have to stop as well. But Hamilton has got DRS and has closed that gap to about half a second now. Schumacher comes into the pits as well. Tyre performance. Looks like Hamilton has the better tyre performance so far. And Hamilton is now on Verstappen pits. Verstappen rolls the dice then. So Hamilton stays out. Verstappen comes in. Let's see the pit stop time for Red Bull. They're a bit slower, Red Bull. They're really slow on the rear left. That could cost Max Verstappen. 4.2 seconds is the pit stop time. Right. It wouldn't surprise me if Hamilton now would come into the pits. It's about Hamilton radio. So will Hamilton come in this time then? He's saying his tyres are okay at the moment, but they've equally got to cover Max Verstappen at the moment. It would be neck and neck. So Perez has been lapped. So Hamilton stays out then. This time. It's just gone down to a 75% chance of Hamilton overtake. And the McLaren are coming out. I assume that's going to be for Daniel Ricciardo. Yes, it is going to be for Daniel Ricciardo. Toto Wolff talking to race control there as well. Did Mazepin hold Hamilton up, I wonder? Is Hamilton going to have to go further? Or is he going to... Hamilton stays out. Now a 10% chance of a Hamilton overtake, 9% chance, 7% chance. So Verstappen's 2.5 seconds clear now of Max Verstappen, but would you want to give up track position on a track like this? That's the thing. There's a lot of corners. So they were late coming out of one of the tyres on the front left, I believe, and that was why. So Verstappen's now about 5 seconds clear of what he needs to be for Lewis Hamilton, but Hamilton will then have the Hamilton radio. Perez comes in. They are going to have to pit now, I think, our Mercedes, because they could be. So Hamilton, if he pits in now, his tyres will be 4 laps younger at the end of the race. That could be crucial. Latifi's in the pits again. I wonder what's happened. What's happened to Latifi? His pit exit, so he must have had to pit again. Mercedes coming out. So Hamilton will come into the pits. He comes in quite slowly. The team nice and early this time. Charles Leclerc takes the lead, but what's the pit stop going to be? 2.7 seconds, a good stop from Mercedes. Verstappen goes past now, and Leclerc's coming to the pits as well. So Hamilton will be on tyres younger than Max Verstappen's. What Hamilton really needs now is a safety car period to bring him a lot closer on his younger tyres. Only Yuki Tsunoda has retired from this race so far. So Russell comes in, so Hamilton's tyres will be 5 laps fresher. And again, could that give him the tyre advantage? But Bottas is getting really close to the back of his teammate as well. Russell, Alonso radio. And Fernando Alonso saying he's managing an issue. He can smell smoke coming from that Alpine, is what Fernando is saying. Hopefully it's not a terminal issue and they can manage it. Right, so the gap 5.7 seconds out front now. We'll see how quickly Bottas radio. So Bottas has been told to follow Lewis and try and catch Verstappen. We're having a look at the gap. It is coming down slightly. Let's see how Ricardo got past Raikkonen. He's done it before he gets to the braking zone then. So Hamilton was half a second quicker than Verstappen on that last lap. So it's a DRS train again. The Alpine, is that Alonso? Is it? Yes, going to try round the outside of Antonio Giovinazzi into turn 1. He's going to hang it round there. He's going to go down the inside at turn 2. A nice move from Fernando. And now Vettel is going to go round the outside of Pierre Gasly at turn 4. That was a great move. And he's going to go down the inside of the Aston Martin of Antonio Giovinazzi, at turn 5. And now at the AlphaTauri of Pierre Gasly, he's going to be well on the gearbox of the Alfa Romeo of Antonio Giovinazzi. He might even try and move up to turn 9. No, he can't. Can he do it? Into turn 10. He's got DRS as Hamilton sets the fastest lap of the race. No, it's not quite long enough. The run into turn 10. How did Sergio Perez get past Kimi Raikkonen down to turn 1? And he gets it done on the braking. Does the Red Bull of Sergio Perez. But he's now, and is that Carlos Sainz going down the inside of Kimi Raikkonen? Yes, it is. Sainz gaining a place. Raikkonen yet to stop. So Hamilton's tyres 5 laps younger, as I said, than Max Verstappen. Is flying, is the British driver, down to 3 seconds already. Hopefully he doesn't take too much out of those medium tyres, but he really is going for it. So here we go again. Perez is going to try and get past Daniel Ricciardo. Will he have DRS? Yes, he will. Leclerc being told he's going to the end. Hamilton 8 tenths up on Max Verstappen on the last lap and does the fastest lap. That gap down to about 2.6 seconds now. It was 5 about 3 laps ago, so it's come down quite significantly. Let's see how Gasly got past Antonio Giovinazzi. He's done it with DRS down the main straight. So Sergio Perez still can't get past Daniel Ricciardo. As Hamilton's making his way up towards turn 9. And Perez is going to try and get past Daniel Ricciardo, but he's in the middle of the lap where it's pretty much impossible to pass. He thinks about it at turn 5, but it doesn't quite work out then. Sector 1, Hamilton 1.5 seconds quicker than Max Verstappen on the last lap. 1.5 seconds quicker. And I think 2 or 3 laps from now, Hamilton will be checking out the gearbox of Max Verstappen. 1.6 seconds now. The gap out in front is really coming down. Verstappen can't get these medium tyres engaged. Perez, what can Perez do on Daniel Ricciardo? He's got DRS, but he still can't quite get past. He's still just that little bit too far back. We're on board with Lewis Hamilton going into turn 7 and turn 8 then. Are we going to see some more elbow action as Nikita Mazepin finally gets nicely out of the way for both drivers as he's lapped again? 1.1 seconds it is now, the gap, as they head on to turn 13. He might even get DRS this lap. Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen really not getting those tyres engaged, and Hamilton having that front flap removed. Has that given that Mercedes extra pace? Bottas radio. Valtteri being told, Hamilton now within DRS range. Valtteri being told, sorry, look, Verstappen, Valtteri being told he's 2/10 quicker than Verstappen at this point. He will catch him on the last lap. That's a bit too close for comfort, isn't it, if you're a Mercedes driver? But this Verstappen-Hamilton duel is resumed. It's well and truly resumed. 0. That Mercedes, though, just cannot follow other cars, can it? It just really struggles with temperatures. It can catch up, but it can't. It just can't. Can it? It just can't follow another car, can it, the Mercedes? I know I said can it a lot in that sentence, but yeah, it really struggles. It's staying at 9/10 of a second for this whole lap, but Hamilton will get DRS down the straights. We'll see how much he gains using DRS. Will he get DRS? No, he won't actually. He won't get DRS. He was just out of the DRS range actually. It was 21 thousandths of a second quicker was Lewis Hamilton on that last lap, so he's really dropped off the pace a bit. But Hamilton really looking quite strong now through that middle sector when he's not having to follow the Red Bull. And Hamilton's obviously in that turbulent air now, which will help destroy his tyres. But he's still going to have that tyre advantage over Verstappen at the end of this race. But he is going to get DRS, I believe, down the straight with Lewis Hamilton as they're heading through turn 10. 8/10 of a second exact, or 8.5 tenths of a second separates the top two then. They head through turn 13 and on to the chicane at 14 and 15. This time, Hamilton will get DRS. I think. Yes, just about. He has DRS. Let's see how much he gains on the Red Bull. He's gaining. It's down to under half a second now as they go into turn 1, but he just couldn't quite manage to get there. He wasn't quite far enough, but Verstappen's mighty quick through turn 3 that time, putting it back out to about 8/10 of a second. That gap to the clerk is now Russell radio. Russell saying the wind is picking up. It's 3.6 kilometers an hour, so it isn't really that. It's not really that quick, is it? The wind, but it seems to be affecting the drivers quite a lot. Verstappen's put in quite a good lap time actually. He's opened the gap up to about 1.1 seconds again. Hamilton will be without DRS down that straight. Will Verstappen have DRS because of the Haas? No, he won't. He's not quite into that DRS range yet. Is Lewis Hamilton. Predicted pit stop strategy. Far more challenging, yeah. I do wonder if Hamilton will try and undercut Verstappen again and roll the dice and force Red Bull to pit. I don't know. Will Red Bull pit again and Hamilton You just don't know what this race is going to throw at you. Still the gap just over a second. So Hamilton without DRS down to turn 10, but they are still smashing the lap times. They are properly head to head now, Verstappen and Hamilton. But let's see exactly what will happen then. We've just gone over the DRS detection. Hamilton will have DRS this time then. He's gaining 18 kilometers an hour down the straight, but Verstappen crucially has that slipstream of the back marker of Mick Schumacher, but Hamilton just isn't quite quick enough through that turn 3 section. That is where he's losing time. But let's see how Norris gets past Raikkonen. He does it before the braking zone at turn 1 using DRS. DRS isn't at all powerful here, as Latifi as well gets past Giovinazzi into turn 1 as well. Hamilton's back out of the DRS again. He's really struggling in that second sector, especially as Lewis Hamilton. That's where the Red Bull is quick. And they've both cleared the back marker as Raikkonen finally comes into the pit lane. He's going to put set softs on, and I assume will go to the end of the race. So that gap, Hamilton not getting DRS, 1.193 seconds is the gap out in front. So Hamilton would be leading the championship by 2 points if it stayed this way going into Monaco. Well, obviously, if you get pole in Monaco, but Hamilton crucially is getting held up by the back marker of Kimi Raikkonen. That could really compromise him. He manages to finally get past. He does eventually get past the Alfa Romeo of Kimi Raikkonen, does Lewis Hamilton with the blue flags. It's a patient, strategic game, isn't it? It's a bit like a chess match at the moment. It's like they are line and stern are the top two, but they're putting the gaps as Vettel comes into the pits again. So Vettel doing the 2-stop then, going on to some soft tyres. Is Hamilton just trying to force Max into a mistake? I don't know. They're approaching the train of back markers as well. Hopefully they get nicely out of the way. Thankfully they're not Nikita Mazepin. Giovinazzi getting the blue flags, but he's not particularly moving out of the way. Perez is going to try and move on Ricciardo into turn 1. Perez is going to go to the outside of turn 1, but he can't quite do it. That time, right, this time the Alfa Romeo stays nicely out of the way of the front two as they blast past. Still only one retiree in this race, and that is Yuki Tsunoda. Strolled into the pits again. So both Aston Martins doing the 2-stop strategy here this afternoon. We'll see if it triggers any midfield action coming in. Hamilton has DRS this time then. How can he close the gap? Much more. No, he can't. He's still just under half a second behind the Red Bull driver is Lewis Hamilton. Wheel the tyres hanging off in the case of Max Verstappen. Let's have a look at Sergio Perez, Daniel Ricciardo. Perez this time. Ricciardo's been warned by race control that he can't weave on the straight. That's what he was doing to block Sergio Perez. Hamilton's still within that DRS range, crucially. Hamilton got DRS down towards turn 10, and we just runs slightly wide on the exit of turn 10 does Max Verstappen, but don't think it cost him too much time. 8/10 of a second out in front. Verstappen's got to now this chicane. Who gets the better exit is going to be crucial. Hamilton is going to have DRS again. 9/10 then it is as they go. It's closing 7/10. 5/10. Hamilton pulls to the left-hand side, but he just can't. He's just not close enough. A couple of 20 meters more straight, Hamilton would have enough to be alongside. But the dogfight once more that we've been waiting to see this battle for many, many seasons. We're finally getting it. Did Perez get past Ricciardo? He's going to go round the outside. Oh, Perez goes really wide on turn 3. He gets on the marbles and just runs wide. No, it's actually got a bit of oversteer on the final corner. He's really giving it absolutely everything, but it's now about 7/10 of a second. But I think Verstappen might also get DRS Verstappen radio. There's so much more grip, but Verstappen is going to get DRS down the straight. But Hamilton pits. Hamilton comes in then. It's a nice stop as well. 2.3 seconds. Verstappen radio. But Bottas. Oh, I'm sure Verstappen will have to come in, and that might gift Lewis Hamilton track position, but Bottas will crucially be in the lead. But Hamilton radio. Hamilton saying his front brakes are really hot. You just got to get some air into them. Verstappen was left out there. Will he pit? No. So it's the Mercedes surprise. Hamilton's done the fastest sector 3. There's a 15% chance of a Hamilton overtake as it stands if Verstappen was to pit now. But that gap, that percentage chance is increasing. 19, 20, 21% chance for Hamilton overtake now. 22% now. It's very much going up. Hamilton bashing the sector times, Hamilton Radio. Hamilton being told 22 seconds he's got, and he's got 22 laps to do it. He's been reminded he's done it before. He might have to do it again if Red Bull don't pit. Their tyres might fall off the cliff towards the end of this race, though. But he will have to pass his teammate Valtteri Bottas, but you can imagine Bottas will get nicely out of the way as Hamilton's pace is lightning fast. He's just done the fastest lap of the race as well, as Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton was 1.1 seconds quicker. Right, if your Sunday lunch is ready, switch the oven off for a moment to Verstappen Radio. Just switch the oven off if you've got your Sunday roast cooking at the moment. You don't want to miss the end of this. We're hearing it will be a last lap manoeuvre as it stands from Lewis Hamilton at the moment. But that gap is significantly really coming down. Hamilton 1.6 seconds quicker than Verstappen on that last lap. 9.5 seconds is 9.3 seconds now is the gap between Bottas and Hamilton. Did we really expect the Mercedes to pit? I don't know. But it really is coming down as Hamilton does another fastest lap. Right, there's 20 laps to go in this Spanish Grand Prix then. 20.2 seconds is the gap. Hamilton doesn't need a safety car right now. That would be a disaster if that happened. It would wreck their whole strategy. Hamilton 1.2 seconds quicker on that last lap. He's not closing it as much as before. He was on a scrubbed set of mediums, so it probably means they may have done the side to that. Let's see how Perez gets past Daniel Ricciardo. He's doing it into turn one. He's going to go to the outside line at turn one, and that becomes the inside line at turn two. And Perez goes up to fifth place. A nice move from the Mexican driver. 18.5 seconds now is the gap between Hamilton and Verstappen. 18.3. It's coming down quite significantly now. It is. Verstappen did get DRS on the last lap because of the back markers, so that's vital to remember. But Hamilton is really reining in the lap times now. 1.7 seconds quicker on the last lap was Lewis Hamilton, so he's almost taking that 2 seconds a lap as Ricciardo and Sainz both pit now. All Verstappen can do is really just do what he's currently doing, and that is just pumping in the lap times. Hamilton being told at this rate you'll catch him on the last lap, but he's really got to start reining in the times, has Lewis Hamilton. I think Verstappen radio. And according to AWS, Hamilton will be in striking distance in 10 laps, and the overtaking difficulty is very, very easy, according to AWS. Verstappen just said, I don't see how we're going to make it to the end of the race. Have they caught us napping once more? Well, they may well have done. Have Mercedes thrown a spanner into the works? Fastest sector for Lewis Hamilton. Again, it's come down to about 15.5 seconds now. It's come down by about 7 seconds in about 3 laps. 4 laps, sorry. So 7 seconds in 4 laps. What's the math? 7 seconds in 4 laps. He would catch him in, and there's, what is there? About 17 laps to go. Ooh. It would be tight. What's the gap? 5 seconds. So it's now about 14 seconds. So Hamilton's entering the pit straight just as Verstappen leaves it. So Bottas radio. Bottas being told to pick up the pace as his teammate Hamilton reins him in. That could possibly hold him up, couldn't it, if Bottas holds him up? But I think Bottas will get nicely out of the way. 1.769 seconds. Hamilton was quicker on lap 48 by 1.769 seconds. He was indeed. So Hamilton going for 6 Spanish Grand Prix victories. He is reining it down by quite a lot. As it stands, Verstappen will be leading the World Championship, but Hamilton really reining in. About 13 seconds now is the gap. On lap 50 or 66 of this Spanish Grand Prix that is far, far from over. Here we go then. The gap just dropping back a bit then, but Hamilton might be saving some of his tyres as Ricciardo gets past Lando Norris then. Norris is under pressure from the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc. So Hamilton was 1.8 seconds faster on that last lap. Verstappen's leading, but he's got track position, but he's also got Mercedes and Lewis Hamilton really bearing him down. It could be a last lap manoeuvre as we stand. Right, the Ferrari of Carlos Sainz is right on the tail of the McLaren and Lando Norris now. The two former teammates are going to go head to head into turn 1. It's going to, and Norris right at the last moment for Carlos Sainz as he brakes and gets past the McLaren of Lando Norris then. So 2.5 seconds is the gap now. You'd think Bottas would get out of the way. Let's have a look at that manoeuvre again from Carlos Sainz. It really is late in the day for Carlos Sainz. He leaves it, pulls out the slipstream as late as he possibly could without touching them. Bottas radio. So I think Bottas has been told that he will have to let Hamilton by when he gets within DRS range. Hamilton 11.5 seconds behind, 11.3 now. A black and white flag has been shown for car number 4, Lando Norris, for track limit violations. It might be for the late move actually, or that he did on Carlos Sainz, because those can be airplane crashes. Right, 10.9 seconds is the gap now. Hamilton is right on the tail of his teammate Valtteri Bottas radio. Valtteri being told to let Lewis through then. Team orders down at Mercedes once more. Valtteri's right rear tyre does look very much second hand, but he is still ahead of his teammate. I guess he's not jumping out of the way, is he? And he really is going to actually hold him up, isn't he? But Hamilton, you'd think, will be able to get past on those new set of soft tyres. This is really compromising Lewis Hamilton, though, getting stuck behind his teammate. What can he do down towards turn 10? He's not going to move him out of the way. Not going to move out of the way, is he? Hamilton, now he does. And they're going to go wheel to wheel, the two Mercedes through turn 10. That got very close. He wasn't in the mood to give it up, was he, Valtteri Bottas? Hamilton eventually gets through, but has lost 1.4 seconds to Max Verstappen on that last lap. So Hamilton's going to have to regain and go again. It's 11.2 seconds with 13 laps to go. Lando Norris comes into the pits. Verstappen radio. Verstappen being told his teammates finding a bit of time. Hamilton saying, and is that the Ferrari Carlos Sainz is going to try turn 10 on the Alpine? No. As Verstappen saying, I'm racing Lewis Hamilton. Don't tell me what to do. Just let me race. Right, here we go. Carlos Sainz is going to go down the inside of the Alpine of Esteban Ocon into turn 1. Nice move there from Carlos Sainz. Up into 7th place. The clerk in 4th. Oh, who's that coming in? Is that Valtteri Bottas into the pits for Mercedes, and going to go on a nice set of soft tyres. That old set of soft tyres. He's going to be touch and go with the clerk, and always that. The AlphaTauri of Pierre Gasly going round the outside of Sebastian Vettel at turn 2. A nice move there from Pierre Gasly, from the French driver. Hamilton could really do with some sort of safety car now to bring that gap right down. Then he will be, because he'll be safe under a pit stop under a safety car. So let's see who's we on board with now. Is that Daniel Ricciardo going down the inside of Esteban Ocon? Yes, it is Daniel Ricciardo up into 6th. And then the Ferrari of Carlos Sainz followed pretty much soon after as well. Let's see, a lap after, in fact. Let's see how he got past with DRS. Carlos Sainz nicely does it on the straight, and he's ahead before he gets to the braking zone. Hamilton's just on fastest lap, 8.5 seconds now, but he's got the dodgy Russian of Nikita Mazepin to get to pass. Nikita, we all know that Mazepin doesn't like getting away, blue flags, battle forecast, chasing, and Mazepin does get out of the way. Striking distance in 9 laps then, so it'll be with 2 laps to go for Lewis Hamilton. 2 laps to go would be the move. He's really got to get the pedal, the right pedal flat to the floor now, has Lewis Hamilton. They look pretty awful. Hamilton's tyres also looking a bit dodgy. 6.6 seconds now. The gap out front. Remember, you can vote now for driver of the day. Go to f1.com/vote. It's been quite a quick race, actually. What would it be? 1 hour 21 minutes. Yeah, so it's about an average time. We will comfortably get this race in. Hamilton 1.8 seconds faster in that last lap alone. He's really working his medium tyres. Still only one retiree as Bottas stills the fastest lap, but he's down in fourth. The Ferrari of Charles Leclerc is up into third, but I suspect Bottas, 1.2 seconds behind the Ferrari, will get the overtake very much done. If Red Bull want to pit for Verstappen, they need to do it now to get out ahead of Valtteri Bottas. Because the gap 25 seconds. Leclerc's coming under pressure from Valtteri Bottas, who's on a nice set of soft tyres and is within DRS range. Right, with 10 laps to go, Hamilton's got that gap down to just about 4.7 seconds it is. But can he get past him is the thing. Can he get past him? We know that Mercedes is not good at following other cars. It's very good in free air, but as soon as it has to follow another car, it seems to really struggle. But here we go, Charles Leclerc and Valtteri Bottas. Bottas should be easily able to get past Charles Leclerc down the straight. He's gaining. He's not gaining a huge amount, and he's going to have to fight for it in the corner. Bottas goes round the outside at turn one. He actually gets it done before the apex. A nice move there from Valtteri Bottas, and he's back up into the podium positions. As it stands, Hamilton would be leading the championship by just one single point as we head to Monaco then. Valtteri Bottas did a really good job to get past Charles Leclerc. It is a track that is hard to overtake on, but you can overtake on. It's not a Monaco where it's virtually impossible to overtake. You can do it around this place. The Red Bulls are always very fast around Monaco, so expect them to have a good race in 2 weeks' time. Gap, wait, Hamilton radio. Hamilton saying he might not have any tyres on the end. Bono saying, okay, we think Hamilton may have this. Hamilton saying he definitely won't then. So I wonder if it's a bluff from Hamilton. 2.7 seconds, 1.6 seconds, 2.4 seconds it is now. It's coming right down. Within a couple of laps, I think Hamilton will be within striking distance of DRS, and someone is coming into the pits. Is it going to be Verstappen or Perez for Red Bull? It's Sergio Perez into the pits then. So it's not. I wonder if that's to take the fastest lap point off Valtteri Bottas. Bottas radio. So if Hamilton passes Verstappen, then will Verstappen pit again? That will give the option to Valtteri Bottas to possibly get past Verstappen as well, wouldn't it? 1.5 seconds now. The gap out in front with 7 laps to go around the Circuit de Barcelona de Catalunya then. And the clouds have gone away. The sun is out around Barcelona this afternoon. And that Ferrari coming out into the pits. And by the way, Russell is only 3/10, half a second behind Fernando Alonso in 11th. He's been very quiet making up the positions as George Russell, as the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc comes into the pits to exchange his tyres for some softs. Right, crucially, Hamilton has DRS now into turn 10. Half a second, he can't quite do it. And he gets a bit wavy, does the Mercedes on the exit of that corner. 8 tenths, half a second. It's really coming down. Hamilton is going to be right on the towel. The tyres of Max Verstappen have really fallen off the cliff. Hamilton is going to get DRS down the straight. Verstappen is weaving down the straight to try and break the slipstream, try and break the toe. There's bits flying off. Hamilton's going to go to the outside at turn 1 and take the lead of the Spanish Grand Prix. But Verstappen is going to try. No, he's not. Hamilton is in the lead in Barcelona. Lap 60, he's back in front. So Hamilton radio. Hamilton will be on 94 points if it stays this way, with Verstappen on 79. Let's see how it was done then. He goes to the outside at turn 1, showing overtaking is possible around this circuit. His 100th pole, he may be converting it to his 100th race victory this afternoon as well, and his 3rd of the season. Toto Wolff punches the air in delight as he sees his driver get past Verstappen radio. And there's also a bit of a battle going on. The Bottas, Verstappen's coming in. Verstappen into the pits. Remember, you can vote driver of the day, f1.com/vote. He's exchanging it for a brand new set of soft tyres, and I assume he's going to try and steal that fastest lap point away from Lewis Hamilton. Valtteri Bottas, sorry. He's going to come out wheel to wheel. Actually, he's going to come out behind Nikita Mazepin. And is that Lance Stroll going to go round the outside? Stroll has to go off the track as he tries to get past. Was that Fernando Alonso? And this is a great battle. Valtteri Bottas very much in the mix of it as well. Bottas trying to get through. But Antonio Giovinazzi trying to get past as well. Gasly's also now on the back of this, and Bottas has somehow managed to make his way through all of that melee. This is all for 10th place. That's Alonso, Stroll, Raikkonen and Gasly, the final points paying position. Alonso really struggling. George Russell, who's in 15th, is also coming onto the back of this as well. And Gasly is going to try the outside of Antonio Giovinazzi into turn 10. Vettel, he's going to go down the inside at turn 10. And he's going to try the outside. Here's Pierre Gasly. Oh, he's going to go the outside at turn 12. What a lovely move that was from Pierre Gasly to get past Kimi Raikkonen. Ocon falls down to 9th. Norris gets past then. So, they are fighting like crazy so far. Verstappen is your driver of the day. And it's going to be Lance Stroll goes round the outside of the Spaniard into turn 10. Turn 1, sorry. And up back into the podium at the points paying positions. Pierre Gasly is going to also go round the outside of Fernando Alonso, whose tyres have really fallen off the cliff. Stroll and Alonso are under investigation as well for the turn 1 incident. So let's see. Stroll definitely goes off the track. in the first overtake. But he went over the bollard and doesn't go speed bump, so he doesn't go to the left-hand side of those bollards. You have to go to the left around the bollard, and he certainly did not do that. Verstappen's just on a fastest lap. Hamilton's got a 22.2 second lead, so he's comfortably okay in this one. Then Verstappen currently in second. Alonso's coming into the pits. And Stroll loses out to Gasly as well. Gasly has been moving on. Gasly's back in the World Championship positions. I wonder if Alonso's got a problem. His pit exit. His tyres must have just fallen off the cliff, and he's down, way down in 17th position. Let's have a look at this move again from Pierre Gasly. Going to go, and he just goes to the inside of turn 1 on Lance Stroll. And Lance also moves under the braking. That's also a bit naughty. That could be black and white flag worthy, and he's already under investigation from the stewards. That could have been an airplane crash. Cars flying through the air. You never want to see that. Marshals at risk. Drivers would also very much be at risk as well. Some 21 seconds is the gap out in front that Hamilton has, and unless a disaster strikes, he's very much he's very much got the position to take his 6th Spanish Grand Prix victory. Remember, you can vote Driver of the Day, f1.com/vote. And vote closes at the end of the race, by the way. The wind really picking up, though, around Barcelona. A strategic thriller around Barcelona, should we say. Hamilton, his type of Driver of the Day as well, 18% for Verstappen and 17% for Lewis Hamilton. 12% goes to Charles Leclerc. That's the top 3. Hamilton got a comfortable lead out in front then. So, Schumacher gets nicely out of the way for Lewis Hamilton. So Verstappen's 100th Red Bull start looks like it might end up in just a 2nd place. And for the 2nd race in a row, Hamilton looks set to be standing on the top step of the podium. Unless, and Verstappen locks up going into turn 5 as well. Unless a disaster happens, Hamilton is very comfortable out in front. Stroll and Alonso still under investigation for that incident. Bottas has done the fastest sector 1. Is he going to take away that fastest lap from Max Verstappen, that World Championship point that could ultimately decide it in the end? Final lap then of this Spanish Grand Prix around the circuit de Barcelona Catalunya. It's a double header, the first double header of the year. Hamilton making his way through turn 1, turn 2 and turn 3 as Verstappen is on the main straight now. Hamilton exit of turn 3. Vote f1.com. F1 vote your Driver of the Day, f1.com/vote. Remember, get it in because the vote closes at the end of this lap. We're on lap 66 of 66 now then. And Verstappen 19% on Driver of the Day, Hamilton 17%, Leclerc 12%. So Verstappen gaining an extra few votes there as Hamilton makes his way up towards turn 9. He's just got to navigate 6 more corners then, and he goes to the new turn 10. Hamilton has been formidable once more, making a strategy that seemed pretty challenging work out. He's pumped in lap after lap after lap. He's now coming round to win a 6th Spanish Grand Prix through the chicane for one last time at turn 14 and 15. Through turn 15, Lewis Hamilton wins the Spanish Grand Prix. And it's a 94-point championship. It's a 15-point lead at the top of the championship as well. Verstappen comes home in 2nd place. They were leading for a lot of the race, but ultimately it wasn't their day at the end. Valtteri Bottas comes round the final corner to come home in 3rd as well. And there's going to be Gasly, and Gasly's going to try and get Ocon on the line. It's going to be a photo finish, but I think Ocon just about got it. Yes, he did. Ocon comes home in 8th. Gasly in Ocon 9th, sorry. Gasly 10th, Stroll 11th, Raikkonen 12th, Vettel 13th. Very soon we're going to hear from our race winner, Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton Radio. Keyword combination there, said by Toto Wolff then. They caught Red Bull napping and off guard today. Max Verstappen got the fastest lap of the race, that fastest lap point then, that's crucial, could ultimately come into play at the end of the season. Hamilton takes his 3rd victory of the year, his 3rd in 4 races as well. Verstappen only winning 1 of the opening 4 races. Hamilton winning 75% of the races so far this season. Just shows Verstappen Radio. And Verstappen drives into the number 2 pit board in frustration. But something has swung in Mercedes' favour, because since we've left Bahrain, Mercedes have found something back. His 98th race victory in Formula One there, then for Lewis Hamilton, and he also got driver of the day. So Hamilton getting driver of the day as well in the end. As he climbs out of his W12 for the 98th time, he's a race winner as well. He puts the steering wheel back on. And the people at Brackley and Brixworth, where they create the engines, Brackley where they build the cars themselves, he sits on the top. He's going to climb over the halo, stands on top of his car, and does his victory celebration as always. The victory walk from Sir Lewis Hamilton, looking back at the car. He's also going to take a look at how bad his tyres were as well, patting his car. And that number 44 as well. The tyres actually look pretty great. He's going to go now and jump into the arms of his team. He's going to do some fist bumping as well, as he gives them all a nice hug and a big, big thank you. I'm sure his personal trainer, Angela, will be there somewhere as well to hand him over all of his bits and bobs that he needs for the post-race interviews. which will be coming up very soon. And he's getting all of the Mercedes strategists, the engineers, all down there giving loads of fist bumps. James Allison down there, James Vowles, and the post-race interviews will be hosted by Jenson Button.
That must be a tough pill to swallow, that one. You look like you had it in the bag. In a way, I could see it coming, you know. Already at the end of the softs, he was faster, and then when we put on the mediums, he was clearly had a lot more pace. He could just stay within 1 second. So there was not much we could have done. So yeah, they went for another stop, and then I knew it was over because I was already struggling with the tires, and you can see it every lap. He was getting closer and closer. So bit of a sitting duck.
Yeah, the first pit stop, you guys seem to do a fantastic job of getting in. Obviously, it was a slightly longer stop, but they didn't jump straight after. So it looked like you guys were doing a fantastic strategy. And then the second time around, they were able to jump just before you. It's always tricky, isn't it, when it's the car behind that jumps first. You don't know whether to jump behind them or to do a different strategy, which is obviously always your plan to do a one stop.
Yeah, I mean, also when you're in the lead with the cars behind with traffic and stuff, you don't want to pit in traffic. But of course, it makes it a lot easier when you just have a clear advantage, more pace in the car. So for us, of course, if we would have jumped for another stop, I'm not sure if we would have caught up again, just really lacking pace. But nevertheless, I tried everything I could.
Yeah, and to be fair, it's always been a Mercedes track, hasn't it? So you guys to be so close in qualifying and so close to the victory, it must bode well for the next few races.
Yeah, it does, but it shows that we are not there where we want to be. We still have to push hard and catch up because at the moment we are a little bit slower. But still, nevertheless, compared to last year, I think it's been a big jump forwards.
Thanks, mate. Hey, Valtteri. Tough race out there. How would you look at that race and try and find some positives from it?
Yeah, I think what made it more tricky for me, I lost the place to Charles on that one. I was turn 3, didn't see him actually, so he chose a better line to turn 3 and got me, and then I was stuck behind him for a while and compromised the race a bit. Otherwise, I think the pace wasn't too bad, so it's a bit of a shame, but at least we make it to the podium.
Was there another strategy you could have done with your car to take yourself back into the fight a little bit more?
I think it's just small details today. Those lap 1, turn 3. I think otherwise the pace is there, and as a team, we're still scoring solid points, but not perfect points. And so yeah, there's work to do. And Monaco is obviously going to be quite a unique track, and I look forward to that.
Yeah, you look like you got a fantastic start down at turn 1, but you were just blocked. These cars are so big, and with Max getting a good start as well, there was no really to go for you.
Yeah, exactly. There was really not space, and it's so close to doing the first few cars. So
Hard luck. Cheers. Lewis, this has always been your circuit. I remember being a teammate, it was always impossible to get anywhere near you around here, and you proved it once again. What a fantastic way to win this Grand Prix.
Thank you so much. Well, first, I just want to acknowledge all the fans out here because this is one of the first races this year, at least, that we've had people come, which is great to see. I've even seen there's a British flag out there, which is we haven't seen for a long time, and I feel great after this. So that we can go again. Obviously, the training's working and paying off. Such a close start. Obviously, there was a lot of rubber down on the right hand side, and the Red Bull obviously got a great start. And then after that, just hunting. And I was so close for so long, and I didn't think in doing that I was going to be able to make the tires last. But I just managed to just keep them in somehow. And we've always come back from 20 odd seconds back. But it was a good gamble, really great strategy by the team.
Yeah, obviously the pace was fantastic on that tyre. But you must be also so thankful, as you said, that the team were able to come up with that great strategy to get past the Red Bull.
Yeah, well, it's been the plan all weekend for us to make sure we had 2 mediums. We had to do a 2-stop. Even though 1 stop potentially looks better, but I know from experience here that a 1 stop is very, very hard to pull off. And as soon as we had the pace that we had, I knew as soon as I could get past him, if I could, and I was about to kind of have a shot getting past him before I pitted right at the end, and I was really conflicted. Like, do I come in or do I ignore the call and stay out? And obviously, I did what the team asked, and naturally that's because there's a great trust between us. But it's a remarkable job by everyone in this team through and through. And yeah, what a day.
Yeah, you guys definitely proved why you're multiple F1 world champions today. You know, you're on the back start to the start, but you came through.
Thanks so much, man.
Congrats.
Yeah, it's exactly why they're multiple F1 world champions. They looked on the back foot today, but they managed to get it to get the job done in the end. And a great podium, I should say, here at Barcelona. Yeah, Hamilton's saying that he always thought a one stop would be impossible. It pretty much was. So whilst we wait for the podium, I'm going to read out some of your tweets that you sent us through the race, and we always try to pick them up at the end. Hashtag Spanish GP when it loads. P13 for Sebastian, yeah, but he didn't have the greatest race. Charles Leclerc waving to the marshals after the race. I didn't actually see that. On a positive note, it was good to see Valtteri defending for once. I was thinking we're going to have a very close championship between Verstappen and Hamilton. Yeah, we're still, it is swinging in Mercedes' favour, but we've now got the podium celebrations here this afternoon. In third place, Valtteri Bottas steps up there for the second race weekend in a row on the third spot. Max Verstappen came home in second place. And then the winner, Lewis Hamilton, came home in first for the third time this season, the 98th of his career and the 6th time in Barcelona. And in his honour, we hear the British and the German national anthems. British and the German national anthems respectively playing on the podium at Barcelona this afternoon. That's not we're getting quite used to that combination of national anthem now, as Hamilton is handed his winning trophy, he holds it up in the air, points to his team, and we've got we've also got a few Spanish officials you know, this down below the podium as well. As Verstappen raises his second place trophy as much as he would like to be getting that first place trophy this afternoon. Valtteri Bottas holds up his third place trophy. And now it's time once more. The celebrations, the champagne. So a fantastic race this afternoon, a team effort from Mercedes. We go to Monaco in 2 weeks' time for one of the most famous weekends of the year. We will see you in 2 weeks' time for qualifying at 1:35 on week on Saturday when Formula